we're going to be presenting a real simple topic today. Well, it's simple, but it can get pretty complicated as well. Going to be talking about WCS, how to use it, what can we do with it, and what would be a good practice maybe to set up a job. I'm going to go ahead and put the part up on the screen here. This is what we're going to be working with today. Simple little 3-axis part, and we're not going to really get into tool paths today. What we're going to do is just, again, talk about planes, how can you use them, how to manipulate them, all the ways you can use them in a 3-axis environment like this, how to set up view sheets, bookmarks, make your job a little easier. Talk about a lot of get things prepped up so when you do get into your tool paths, it becomes a little easier. We're going to focus today on this panel right here for planes, and there's many ways that we can do create a WCS. For most of y'all, it'll probably be review. Maybe you might pick up a trick or two. We don't know. For those of the guys that are used to or new to Mastercam, hopefully we can give you some more insight on how the WCS works. So I'm going to start off real simple. In the latest versions of Mastercam, we can use this icon. Here's Gnome in here, and we can move it around and place it where we want to. But I'm gonna go back a bit. Here within the panel, to create a plane, we have a few extra options here, and some of these are just legacy options. Most of them from first things first, from geometry. Let's go ahead and spend a few minutes, and we'll cover this here. And for that, I'm gonna have to create some geometry. So I'm gonna set up my my Z. I'm gonna put it at the top of this face right here. I'm gonna go ahead and create some wireframe. I'm gonna create some points. I'm gonna put a point there, put one right there, and go ahead and create some curves, maybe one here, and one here like this. Select OK. I'm going to create some more random points, maybe at the center of those, a few extra ones at random, and maybe some more geometry, just some lines that we can use. So let's see what kind of coordinate system we can use with this geometry. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to come back over here to planes, select from geometry. I'm going to start off with points. I'm going to pick this point, and this point right here. It gives me 8 possibilities of where I want to put and which way I want to face my origin. So I can continue and toggle that until I see the one I like, and of course I can save it. We can also do this with lines. So from geometry, I can say this line and this line. And again, toggle it around. If you have an odd shape geometry, obviously you can still use it with lines. Go back to points. What would happen if we picked these 3 points? Oops. Oh, sorry. It's picking the wrong one. From geometry. There you go. So this creates a weird shape. If for some odd reason you had to have that vise on your machine skewed over like that, and you wanted it to be running along the X, that's one quick way of doing it. We can also pick lines that are at odd angles. Same thing. So these parts that we have on the screen are pretty prismatic. It's real easy to see that we can pick the edges of things, and it would work out just fine. I'll show you a little sample in a little bit of something that doesn't have any straight edges on it and how to create a WCS on it. What I would like to do now is, well, a few other things before I move on. I forgot. From solid face here. Now, in solid face, it used to be wherever you had your cursor, it would kind of put 0, 0 there. Now we kind of automatically put it in the center of whichever face you select. That's a nice little feature we've added there. Of course, you can still manipulate the axis where you go. It doesn't matter what angle you're on. You can pick this one, flip it around. Okay. We also have one that's in G view here. Now, G view is real cool. A lot of times when I'm on say on a 4-axis, you know, and I can't get to a view, so I don't have a true dynamic, or there's just no way to get to it. I want to rotate my view and lock it down to a certain location. Let's say I wanted to look at this part right in that view right there. I could say the plane equals the geometry view. Then I can also select where I want my 0 to be at. Give it a name here, and I can select OK to that. I can view it. I'm going to press F9 on my keyboard. I can spin him around. We have a new option in 2020 for display. Okay. Spin him around. If I wanted to equal that, make that the active WCS and select the top view, that would be my normal view right there. And that's where I would be putting the toolpath. Now, probably can't do this with the 3 vices here, but just as an example. You go ahead and delete that. Delete all unused. Go back to isometric. Now what I want to do is I want to set these 3 vices up to start putting toolpaths on there. And I don't want to have to constantly come to my planes, you know, select my plane to move on to the next part and so forth. I want to make this easy for me to use. So I'm going to come over here, go to planes, use my gnomon now, the little icon. And I'm going to select my first operation to be right at this corner. Now I want to go ahead and make sure that I face the top of the part off, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it down a little bit, minus 50 thousandths. I'm going to call him G54. I'm going to manually give it a work offset of 0. I'm going to select OK to that. I can go to display, and then the icon, the axis display will remain up there. If I go to the front view, and I zoom in, we can see that if we moved it 50 thousandths below the top of that stock. Now for these 2 operations, I should show you everything. Got some little Mighty Byte expandable collets here, like so. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the center of this one right here to set up my next G54. Go ahead and grab my icon again, zoom in. I want to pick the center of that. Should be in 3D here. Let me try that again. Bring them over here. Pick them right there. Now on this one, I want to use the base of this fixture to control my Z. So now I'm going to click on just the one axis. So you can't move anywhere else, but just on that axis. And I can come and I can snap this anywhere on this face right here. Click on it. I'm going to go ahead and name him. I'm going to call him G55. And then assign him a work offset number 1. I'll select OK to that. And again, if I go to my front plane, make this the active one, zoom in, we'll see that it's right at the top of that fixture right there. For my third operation, I'm going to use the same bore. This is the triple tree from a motorcycle. If anybody knows me, I've been with MLC for good, I don't know, over 20 years, and I'm a motorcycling enthusiast, and these are some triple trees. I figured I'd pick something that I'm real familiar with talking about, so if you have questions about it, hopefully I won't have dumb answers. I'm going to go ahead So we're starting with some raw material. Then we're going to machine, once these holes are here, we're going to flip it over, put them in location, clamp them down with the expansion, and then mill the outside of them. Once that's done, then we still have to machine, the step on the bottom and the other fillets. We'd flip the part around and we'd go ahead and machine that. So before we can get to the tool paths, I want to make sure that all the WCSs are set up. So now I'll go ahead and grab my icon one more time. I'm going to use the same stem bore to locate. This time I want the top of the part. So I'm going to grab my Z here, come over here to my auto cursor, and I'm going to say relative to this guy, I want to move him exactly 1 inch up. Call him G56 and set my coordinate accordingly. And I'll select OK to that. So there's G54, 55, and 56. Let me fit this onto the screen. Any questions so far? Sherman, is anybody asking any questions?
None as of yet, no.
Okay, good. Feel free to type in the question. Sherman is monitoring the question window, and we'll answer your questions as we're moving along. We'll also have a little Q&A at the end if you guys have any questions here. So now let's go ahead and simplify this just a little bit more now. I just want to see this vise and this part while I'm going to be working on G54. So I'm going to come up here, go to my top view. I'm going to turn the display off for the two other ones. And to do this, first things first, let's turn everything on. I'm going to go to View, and I'm not using View Sheets. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and you can see I already have my tabs here, 54, 55, and 56. So under 54, I'm going to turn the display off for all of them, go to my levels. I'm going to turn the levels off for those. And I'm even going to place it in a view that I can see, very easily as I'm putting toolpaths on it. So as I'm selecting my my face and do the circle bores, I can get to them pretty quick in this view right here. So that's my G54, and I'm going to go ahead and say bookmark it, and now I have a bookmark icon. I'll go to 55. Everything comes back up. Go to my planes. I'm going to set that 55, and I'm going to turn the display off for the other ones. Go to my levels. Just got to make this one active. There's my middle vise right there. And the same thing, I'm going to roll it around right to a nice area that I can see real clearly, where I can select geometry as I'm doing toolpaths. And I'm going to bookmark that one, and that's 55. Let's go to 56, and we'll do it all over again. Go to planes, turn off the display for both of these, go back to my levels. I want to see just this one right here. I'm going to zoom in, save my bookmark. So now, if I go back to my first view sheet, isometric, there's everything right there. If I go to 54, everything else disappears. 55, 56. Even if I spin them around, leave them someplace, go to 54, 55, it goes to 56. If we double click on it, it goes back to the view, to the bookmark. So this little trick right here will help you go through the process of putting your toolpath without having to go back and forth between the panels. You can just click on your icons down here, on your little tabs. So let's give it a try. I'm going to come over here to toolpaths. Now, again, today's webinar is not about machining a part. It's about how to set up your work coordinate system. This is a real good, real basic, simple way of, especially when you have multiple parts. And I might show you how to use transform toolpath with multiple offsets. We might do that here in a little bit. So I'm going to take this first one here. So I'll give you several toolpath examples. Go to toolpaths. I'm just going to do a drilling operation. I'm going to drill that point right there, right in the corner. Get myself a good sized drill here. Oops, I got nothing but temps. Grab a 5/16 drill. And on the planes, they're all set to G54 right there, right? Link in parameters. I'm just going to take this to a depth of -1/2 inch. We'll select OK to that. Now, I want to go work on the G55. Double click on it. I'm going to go drill this hole. I'm going to say drill. Center that. Click OK. Everything should be set. I'm just going to say OK to that. Go to G56. Do another drill. Pick the center of that one. I'll select OK again. Now, go ahead and put it on all of them so I can see them. I'll back plot. We'll see the drill. Drilled in all those 0 locations. Now, obviously, I wouldn't do the drilling. This is just an exercise. Because what I want to do is I want to show you the G code. I'm going to post this out. Override this file. So it should go to each work coordinate at 0, 0 and do a drill operation. So here's G54, X0, Y0. Picks up the tool length offset, does the drilling operation, cancels it out, then goes to G55 at 0, 0, does the drilling operation, cancels it out, and then finally to G56. The drilling operation canceled, and it goes home. So that just jumped to 3 different vices. And it was pretty straightforward just by simply doing a little legwork ahead of time. Create your work coordinates. Anybody have any questions about what I'm doing so far? Herman, any questions?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay. I saw there was a little exclamation point. Okay, I see what it is. All righty, cool. So how would we do this, say, if I wanted to do, let me delete this guy out, delete some operations. Even if I show the, go to levels. I'm going to turn the parts off. I'm not going to leave any parts on here, but let's say I did, what if I did, instead of it being a progressive operation, I did 3 parts all the same. So if I come over here, let's say I did a facing operation, make sure that on my planes, a G54, tool plane and construction complainer, this one is active. I'm going to do a facing operation on this face. And I'm going to pick this 2-inch facing face mill here. Go to my cut parameters to do a little zigzag cutting. Now my linking parameters. Oh, right, should be at 0 here. It raises up a little bit so we can see it. This is good. I don't want it to overlap too much, say 25%. And then we'll truncate this down to maybe say 50% here. Let's do some high-speed loops between it. Click OK. Backplot. There's my little facing operation. Now it's 50,000 below that stock. So we go to verify, it would show the, it would show the stock removal. This looks good. Now, if I wanted to do this on 2 more vices and then go G54, 55, and 56, we also have this transform toolpath option here. So transform toolpath. I'm going to copy the source operation. I'm even going to subprogram it. I'm going to use a tool plane, and I want to include the origin here. Work offset's going to be automatic. Now I'm going to go ahead and say between points, 2 instances. It doesn't matter where I pick. I want to say from here to here. Click OK to this, or to that, I should say. And I know they're not right in the order, but shows you a good example. You can sit there and do all the facing operations, and then you would continue on with your operations. What I want to show you, again, not so much focus on the toolpaths, but the output and using WCS. I'm going to post this out, override the file. Now we have G54, 55, and 56. So it goes to this location, calls up this subprogram, P0001. This is the motion. And it goes M99, comes back into the main program, goes to G55 to the same location, calls up the sub, and does it one more time for G56. So it did all that motion in this in 42 lines of code. Does anybody have any questions about this so far? Sherman, any more questions? I keep asking.
No, sir.
Ask.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody ask questions right now.
Okay. All right. Good. So this is a real good example how we can use, WCS, take control of your toolpaths using your G54, G55, and G56. Quickly go through those toolpaths. Real easy to use. Go ahead and delete these right here. All right. So now I've gotten through these 3 operations on this part right here. We got these little slots. Oh, you know what? What I was going to show as well. What if you didn't want to show your vice and everything? You just wanted to machine everything just off of one part. That was a question that was asked to me just a little while ago, just between the sessions. If I wanted to, I could do a bounding box around the part, give it a stock size. This is kind of how I based all the stock. Give it some size up here. It'll create me some geometry. And then based on that geometry right there, right from where the part sits in 3D, I can again go ahead and do the same thing. Maybe I want to put it right in the top dead center. So do the hover trick where you kind of hover. Pick that. Call it off number 1. We'll give it manual. We'll go ahead and say 0. It's going to give me a little error here. Select OK. Then we could go to planes, and you can manipulate this right here. We can go ahead and say duplicate this, rename them, call them op number 2, edit him. I want to take him and face him around 180. That's where your second op would be, right? And you can even manipulate the Z. The Z, You want it to be over here on this side. Click OK to that. So if I was looking at this, this would be my first op, second op, and isometric view would flip the part around. Then if you wanted to machine this side over here, you would continue on. Just come over here, hover, hover, pick your midpoint, rotate it over 90 degrees, like so. Actually, this one, yeah, that sounds pretty good right there. Or would we take this thing and spin them around 90 degrees like this as well? So you can see the part. Everything can be done in one operation. So if I put this in a machine, let's say I had a fixture, you would set it up like that. Then again, you continue on, flip it over for the other side. You could manipulate that as well. Take this guy, duplicate him, rename him. Edit him. And then move him down again. And again, is using the CAD tools from Mastercam. Just putting them into range. Put isometric on that, and it would flip that part over like that. You had a fixture, device, you can machine all those areas. All those faces could be done. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go ahead and display those. So everything looks pretty good. Still no questions?
As of yet, no, sir.
All right. Well, good. So that's how we would get to these additional operations if you want to do the counter bore and then do the slot here. But what I do have is another option for the fourth operation. I'm not going to save this file. For the fourth operation, we made a fixture to put on the rotary table. So here's the part came in from SolidWorks. Just going to go ahead and move it around. Doesn't matter where I put my icon here. I'm going to just flip it over 90 degrees. Right. I want this top part here to be 0. You know what? Or we can leave it like that. Doesn't really matter. Select OK to this. Then I want to move the origin. I want the face of this fixture plate to be right at 0, 0. Put that back onto my screen and clear my colors. I'll look at this from the top view. Let's focus on this right here. The face of this plate. Then if I look at this from the right view, unrender it, and it's right at the center of this boss. So if you guys have a VMC with the 4 axes on it, this is how you would do this. So this was a part that was turned on the lathe, and we're going to machine these flats here. The flats are just clearance, so we can run the slot mill through this. Again, change the color of this so I can identify both of them. So how would I machine these flats here? Now, once again, go to my toolpath, or I'm sorry, I want to start a machine, but go to my planes here. Now, one more time, read my icon. This time, I'm going to make sure, let's just call him 1. I want all of these to be the same work coordinate, or I want them to all come from the same location. So I'm going to say move to the origin. Now it puts it right there, 0, 0. I'm going to select OK to that. I'm going to create another plane on this face, call him 2. I'm going to move him to the origin as well. Spin this part around graphically here. And then I'm going to do this face. Pick this face right here, call him 3, and move him to the origin as well. So all of these are at 0, 0, 0. They're not anywhere else. They're just different views. So if I go to 1 here, let's put it all in the top plane. I want to set up my construction plane here for 1, which is this one, I believe, right? Display. Oh, it's this one right here. Sorry about that. I'm going to put a toolpath on there. So I'm going to say facing. I'm not going to rough everything out. I'm just going to go grab a tool. Let's go grab a 2-inch face mill here. Cut parameters. I'm just going to do 1 pass at 90 degrees. Take it to size. And pretty much double check my planes. Top view, 1 and 1. Now, if I want the rotary output to come out in the code, your work coordinate system has to remain in the top, or whatever view you set as the top view, and then the rotation of tool plane and construction plane here. Almost like okay to this, and I get this tool path here. I'm going to set my construction plane to this face right here. Do another facing operation on that face. All of this should be set. I'll select OK. One more time. Face. And I'll say OK this one more time. Oops. I didn't move my construction plane first. Face, got ahead of myself. Pick it. And select OK. So those are my tool paths right there. Now, I'm going to go to the right view so we can see this. I'm going to back plot them. And just wrap it off. It comes in, faces 1. I didn't bother to rough them out or nothing. You know, again, the tool path is just so I can see this. Now, a common issue we have with Mastercam and what feedback we get from customers, they're doing something like this. You post it out, and just because they're all coming from the same location, they're all at 0, 0, 0. If you're not careful, you'll still get different work coordinates here. So G54 at that angle, you get to G55. Now, when you're doing a rotary part like this, you kind of want everything coming from 1 G50. So these we have to get rid of. The angles are correct, but if the G55 does not match the G54 at the machine or the G56, you might run into a problem. You'll scrap a part, or worse, you might crash the machine. So in this particular instance, just because they're all coming from the exact same spot doesn't mean you'll get the right output. We'll go over to planes, and to fix this, let's go to number 1 right here. Make sure they're all the same. Set this to 0, select OK. Just telling we're going to set the work offset to 0. I'm going to set this one to 0 as well. It's going to give me an error saying it's being used, or a message. I'm going to say yes. That's exactly what I want to do. So now they're all set to the same work coordinate or the same work number. I'm going to post this out, override the file. So now we only have one work coordinate, G54. It moves up in Z, rotates, moves to location, cuts the next flat, moves up in Z, moves to the next rotary, cuts and goes home. Again, nice, simple, clean toolpath. Is everybody okay with this here? Any questions? May seem like a lot of review for a lot of guys, but it could also, hopefully we're offering some, some tips and tricks here. What'd you say, Sherman?
I was just letting you know everything's looking pretty good. Question-wise.
All right. So now I've machined the flats on the part. Now let's address the part here. Now, this is another example of rotary where I may want to control, put everything on top here. I may want to control the exact location of each of these features here. You know, because I may want to do some, so when I post it out and do a circle mill or a tap or whatever, the depth, I don't want to have to shift one work coordinate, because if I shift something here, it might affect something on the bottom side. So each one of these, I want to have its own little work coordinate system, so I can do the adjusting at the machine. And the same thing here, I'm going to go ahead and click my icon. I want to pick the center of this guy. This is already all machined from the previous operations. And then as far as setting my Z, I'm going to go ahead and just pick somewhere up here on top, right? Call him spot -1. I'm going to create a manual work offset, call him 0 for G54 again. Select OK to that. And then let's go ahead and create one right here. Now right here it's going to present a little different challenge, whereas here I have a flat face that I can go touch up on. Here we got this curve. Several ways we can do this. First things first, we got to find the location of it. It's going to be the center there. And it's really the Z. And again, we can probably move the Z to 0. Well, we can't move it to the origin. One quick way of doing it is just sharing the same Z as over here. So click my Z. Get the same height. Call this. That's for the stem hole, the stem spot. Call them G55. We'll select OK to that. So when you're on your machine and you got it in your fixture, you would essentially touch this one off, make sure this is swept correctly. You can move over. You can copy the values from G54 to G55 and then add the differences. You should be in the right location. Then from there, you can do your tweaking. Spin this guy around. Let's take a look at him. We'll do the same thing right here. I'm going to pick this face, make sure my Z's point the right way. Then pick the little circle, a little ball in the center of it. Pick the counter bore. Then select the Z. We'll make this one 2. We'll select OK to that. Oops. All right. So again, display our work offsets. And this is something whether you're doing a 4-axis machine or a 5-axis machine, let's say you have like a Haas UMC 750 or you got like a Mori, there's like a M5500, something like that. There's all different kinds. Let's say you have just a regular 5-axis with a trunnion, okay? To get the trunnion to rotate with the bias towards you, you always have to keep in mind that the Y always points toward the trunnion, okay? So if this part were to rotate back this way, like that, okay, and the Y was pointing this way, you could not see the part. It would be behind the body of the trunnion. You would still be able to machine it, but it'd be real hard to see what you're doing, okay? So as I'm rotating this part, I try to get the Y to point toward the trunnion. It's just a real simple little visual that I do in Mastercam. So this is the 4-axis. So as I'm rotating around, I'm making sure that all the Y's are pointing the right direction. Another common thing we get is somebody will create what they believe is the right work plane. Here, I'll just create another one. Let's say we create a work plane on that face, and somehow, some way, to get the part this way. So the X is pointing wrong, all right? Let's turn this one and this one off. So you got, they're pointing the wrong way. So if you were to do a toolpath on this work offset and then do a toolpath on this one, when you post out, you're gonna get, heck, let's give it a try here. Let's say drill. Oops, let's make sure we get the right one here. Planes. We'll leave the WCS up there. Do the construction plane here. If I do a drill at the center and select OK to that, now I go to planes. Oh, I'm sorry. This one may edit him. I apologize. If there's not a rotation, it won't do it either. So I'm going to take this guy, spin him around this way. But that's emulating a 180 rotary. I'll do a drill. Oops, sorry. Make sure this one's the active one. I'm going to do a drill. Pick the same location. If I take these two and I post them out, I should get an error because the axes are not. See here, I get an error. If you get this error right here, it's usually called single axis rotation. See, only single axis rotation is allowed. Angles may be incorrect. If you get this error, more than likely it's the plane here. So we go edit this plane, take this guy, spin him around, select OK to him, update that toolpath. And if we post both of these guys out now, we should not get an error. We'll have a 0 and a 180. There's your 0 or a 90. Oops, 55. I didn't add the update. Okay, we didn't get an error though. So again, that's a common error we get all the time. And you know, as you're creating your coordinates, where's my Z going to on this one? Edit. Oh, it's that way. I went too far. Let's try this one more time. I expected to see 180. The cool thing that I'm showing you here too is just because you get an error and you have a tool plane that's wrong, don't feel like you have to start all over again. You can just go, you got 180 right there. Of course, I got the G55, but the angles are correct. Add them both set to 0, we would not have a problem. So it's this one right here. Set them to 0. Or, yep, and that one is 0 as well. One more time, post them out. Now we should get the right output. So you got A0, does the drill cycle, rotates, and does the next drill cycle. Okay? Now, this is all cool if you have things that are prismatic. You know, so far everything that I've been showing you today is real simple to snap to, you know, a known feature and set a work plan and so forth. What happens when you have a non-standard looking part? Kind of just modeled up a quick little part here. If you look at this guy, he's really, there's really no, this looks simple enough. But let's say you didn't have a rotary and you just had to machine this part in a three-axis mill. You have to look at this feature normal to the z-axis. So we look at these things like this, say, how do we create, you know, a construction plane and set up a WCS? This is where the geometry still comes in, because if I was to come up here to the planes and go to solid face, I mean, I'm not really sure that I can pick any of these faces. I know I can pick this face and this face, but that's not what I want. I don't know what the angle of this is. So let's come back and we can create some geometry. Now, one cool way would be to create some points. Well, what about we say create a point dynamic? We could snap, create 3 points like that. At bare minimum, we need 3 points. That might get us something close by, but it's probably not going to be correct. So from geometry, that point, and that point, you can start flipping this around. Right? It's going to get us close, but not what we want. Delete those points there. And looking at this, cool trick to do it. Again, you have to figure out what works for you. I'm going to go ahead and look at this from the right view, I believe. There you go. I want to change the color of my geometry to red. I'm even going to make it heavy so we can really see it. I'm going to do a silhouette boundary. Off of everything here. Let me isolate that geometry. I want to switch colors again so we can see what's going on. I'm going to create a line. And there's probably numerous ways to do this. Draw a line perpendicular from the middle here. So now I have some geometry that I can select, at least something to get me started. Let's go back to geometry here. I can say my X and my Y, I believe. Spin this around. I want to get X to the top. If I can, if I won't, I may have to reselect my lines the other way. Let me try it the other way. From geometry, flip them around. And if it doesn't work, it's quite all right. I'm going to take this. I'm going to save that view right there. With that view, I just need to spin it 90 degrees. To do a combination of the old way and the new way, I'm going to select OK to this. I'm going to call this top. Right? Select OK to this. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to edit them. I can take this Z, move them up 90 degrees. Select OK. If I go to the top view, he puts them, if I look at this from the front, he's right in line for a 3-axis. Now, why would we do this? I don't know. It was an exercise that we talked about. You get a part that has no straight edge on it, nothing. How do you go about doing things like this? You know, here's a good example. We can just simply put a toolpath on it. Just do a simple equal scallop. Pick all the geometry. Select the boundary. We'll grab a tool. Select tool from library here and say we go with a 3/16 Bonel's end mill. And we'll just do a big step over for now and select OK to that. Back about this. There's your toolpath. I appreciate y'all guys stopping by and watching me work for a little bit.